Hey everybody, my name is Taylor Glenn, and this is my channel Taylor Tries, where I try new things and I try to teach you new things. And today I'm going to teach you how to do 6-ball juggling in the Wimpy pattern. Now the Wimpy pattern may have a sad name, it's Wimpy, but it's actually a really great pattern, and in my opinion it is the best pattern to start with when you're learning 6 balls. There are other base patterns that you can learn for 6 balls, like the 6-ball fountain, which is the most common, and the half shower, which I also recommend. I cover both of those in other tutorials. If they're not already up, they will be soon, and if they are up, there will be links in the description for those if you want to learn those. But I do actually recommend learning the 6-ball Wimpy pattern first because I just find it easier, and I think most people do. So in this tutorial, I'll be covering how to do the Wimpy pattern, some exercises you can do working your way up towards it, and for members of my Patreon, there's an extended version of this tutorial which covers 2 5-ball side swaps that I recommend if you want to practice your 6-ball Wimpy pattern and also just have cool 5-ball side swaps. Those 2 side swaps are part of the extended tutorial available exclusively for members of my Otter Club on Patreon. If you want to become a member of the Otter Club, you can do that right now and get immediate access to that. It's only $2, and yeah. A huge thank you to all the people who already support me on Patreon. You make it possible for me to make these tutorials for the rest of the world. Thank you so much. It should go without saying, but in order to start working on 6 balls, you should already be very comfortable with 5 balls. While I'm on that, if you're one of those people that wanted to skip 6 completely and just go from 5 to 7, don't. Learning 6 balls really does make you a better juggler. It gets you familiar with those fountain-like throws, and it is easier than 7 because it's one less object. I know it's not crossing, but it's still one less object. It's easier. And honestly, it feels closer to 7 than 5 does, and so I think it's just important to learn. Now that I got that PSA out of the way, let's learn the trick. All right, let's take a look at what's happening in the 6-ball Wimpy pattern. So unlike the fountain pattern where the balls do not cross, in the Wimpy pattern, the balls are crossing. This is why I find it easier than the 6-ball fountain. Because we're familiar with crossing the balls with 5 balls, I feel like 6-ball Wimpies is just a step up from that. And it's also a really good in-between for learning 7 balls. The cool thing about the Wimpy pattern is it feels like it shouldn't work. The balls are crossing, so they feel like they should be colliding in the air, and yet they don't. And that's because one ball is going just slightly higher than the other ball, just to create enough of a timing difference so that they can clear each other's paths without hitting. So the first thing you should start working on is your 4-ball Wimpies. If you've never done this pattern before, that's totally fine. You should be able to pick it up pretty quickly if you're at the point where 6 balls is something you're thinking about. Remember to keep one hand's throws always just slightly higher than the other hand and start practicing. You'll notice that the height difference isn't that drastic. It's really subtle. There's just one ball that's going a little bit higher than the other one. Once you feel comfortable with the 4-ball Wimpies, there are some 4-ball exercises that I recommend in order to get ready for 6-ball Wimpies. I recommend doing 4-ball Wimpies at 6-ball height. There should be a nice pause in between each throw. Once you feel comfortable with that, I recommend doing a 4-ball Wimpy flash. That's just where you throw 2 up, then another 2 up, and then there's a beat where the other 2 would go. Get that solid. If you can't do that, you're not going to be able to do it with 6. Once you feel comfortable with that, you can pick up the last 2 and let's start throwing 6 balls. I want you to approach this the same way that you should have been doing your entire juggling journey, and that is by doing a flash and then stopping. So you go 1, 2, 3, then catch. Don't try to keep going until you get the first 3 throws solid. That's how we get better efficiently. Yeah. Once you feel comfortable with that flash, you can do the 4th throw. Be patient with yourself. Take your time with it. 6 balls is really hard. Even the Wimpy pattern is difficult. It's gonna take you some time, but take it slow and be patient. That's 6-ball Wimpies. Next, I want to talk about the thing that you're probably having trouble with, which is the balls hitting each other in the air. It's the biggest issue with Wimpies. It's just really hard because you have to get that that height difference really subtle and really accurate in order to avoid a collision. The way to avoid this is to work on those 4-ball patterns that I talked about. If you work on those 4-ball wimpy patterns at 6-ball height, it should drill that muscle memory in there so that when you're rushing around with 6 of them, you're not gonna be defaulting to collisions like you would normally do if you skipped all those steps. So make sure you break it down, take it step by step, and take your time. And then when you're ready, you can do 6 balls and you won't have as many of those collisions as you would normally have. With 6 balls, no matter what pattern you're gonna be doing, you're gonna have the tendency to throw too low. This is just something we all do, and that's because throwing high throws is really hard. It requires more control and more effort. It's just harder. I have a tendency to throw a very low 6-ball pattern, and it's hindered me in a lot of ways. So when you're starting to learn, start thinking about how high you need it to be from the get-go. Make it high. It's higher than you think it should be. That's really all there is to it. I don't really have any other tips that I can give you other than just be patient and take your time. Now, there are 2 5-ball side swaps that I really love that I think are really fun exercises for working on 6-ball wimpies, and I cover those in the extended version of this tutorial on Patreon. So if you want access to those, you can get immediate access for $2 right now. There's a link in the description. Go do that if you're interested. Thank you so much for watching my tutorial. If you enjoyed it and you found it helpful, please like the video and subscribe and take a look at all my other tutorials. You might learn something. It should be fun. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment and I will do my best to answer them. Good luck and happy juggling.